My boss was literally turning purple while I was about to double my salary or get fired in 10 seconds. All because I've been secretly Before the total meltdown, I was just a lowly logistics coordinator grinding away for 30 grand a year. My boss, a guy I dubbed the Audacity King, Bro, you have no idea the level of smugness this guy radiated on a daily basis. Steve, the Audacity King, was this tall, pasty guy with a receding hairline and a permanent scowl who wore generic department store suits that were always one size too big. He ran this mid-sized shipping firm like he was some kind of logistics legend, when in reality, he couldn't even fix a paper jam without calling me for help every 5 minutes. I'm sitting there at my desk, juggling complex international shipping manifests and basically keeping the entire company from falling apart. And this man has the I finally worked up the courage to ask for a raise because trying to live on $15 an hour in this economy is a literal nightmare. Steve didn't even look up from his phone when he shot me down. He just chuckled and told me that anyone off the street could do my job and that I was lucky to even have a cubicle. He called my entire— I swear I am not making this up. The level of pure disrespect was Olympian. He saw me as nothing more than a human-shaped spreadsheet, totally ignoring the fact that I had a college degree and a secret skill set that was about to become the only thing standing between him and— He thought he was the smartest guy in the room, but he was about to find out that the unskilled kid he kept ignoring was the only one who— So, let me set the scene for you. Our hero, let's call him Leo, wasn't just some random guy off the street who watched a few subtitles and thought he was a linguist. He had a whole-ass degree in international relations and was literally fluent in Mandarin Chinese. Like, he spent years mastering the 4 tones, the thousands of characters, and the complex, subtle dance of Chinese business culture. He understood Mianzi, that's the concept of face or reputation, and Guanji, which is all about building those deep, personal connections that actually make deals happen in East Asian markets. But when he interviewed with the Audacity King, this manager who probably thought Mandarin was just a type of orange you find in a fruit cup, Leo's skills were treated like a fun little party trick. He was like, "Hey, I'm fluent in standard Mandarin, which might be an asset since we source almost all our parts from manufacturing plants in China." This man actually chuckled, like a condescending, "I know better than you" kind of laugh. He leaned back in his cheap swivel chair, adjusted his tie, and told Leo, "That's cute, kid, but we have Google Translate and automated systems for that. We don't pay for hobbies here. We need someone who can handle the real work, like filing invoices, keeping the supply chain logs updated, and making sure the coffee machine doesn't grow a soul. Your little language thing isn't relevant to this role?" Bro, the audacity. Imagine telling a trained polyglot that their years of academic study is a hobby while you're struggling to figure out how to see someone on an email without hitting reply all. So, Leo took the hint. He realized that if he offered up his professional-level translation and negotiation skills for a starting salary of $15 an hour, he was basically giving away a Ferrari for the price of a rickety tricycle. He decided right then and there, "You got one." He kept that secret weapon tucked away so deep it didn't even appear on his internal. For months, he spent his days doing the mindless grunt work, watching the Audacity King struggle through botched, confusing emails with overseas suppliers and seeing them lose money on shipping errors because they couldn't communicate properly. Leo sat there, perfectly capable of fixing the entire mess with one phone call. It was a ticking time bomb of a secret, and Leo was just waiting for the absolute perfect moment to light the fuse and show he knew a big meeting was coming up. So, the day finally arrives. We are talking about a $5 million contract, guys. $5 million. This wasn't just a big win for the company. This was the kind of deal that decides whether the firm expands or goes belly up. The Audacity King was absolutely vibrating. I've never seen a grown man sweat through an expensive designer. He literally looked like he was melting into the carpet. And then the door opens and the delegation walks in. These guys were the real deal. High-level executives from a massive manufacturing plant in China. They were sharp, disciplined, and had that intense East Asian business energy where you just know they aren't here to play games. We're talking tailored suits, impeccable posture, and a zero-tolerance policy for incompetence. But then, get the high-priced professional, the one person who was total no-show, ghosted, zip, nada. At first, the Audacity King is just checking his watch every 5 seconds, his face turning a shade of purple I didn't even know was biologically possible. He's looking at me, then at the empty chair where the translator should be, then back at these very important, very confused guests who are starting to realize that absolutely I'm standing there in the corner with the coffee tray, watching the most expensive train wreck in history unfold in real time. The delegation starts whispering to each other in Mandarin, glancing at their watches, and you could just feel the face. In their business culture, showing up to a multi-million-dollar negotiation without a translator is basically the same as spitting on the table. It was the ultimate sign of disrespect. The Audacity King is trying to fix it by doing that thing where he talks really loud and really slow in English, which we all know is the universal signal for, I have no idea what I'm doing. He's making frantic hand gestures like he's playing a high-stakes game of charades for a $5 million prize, and the lead executive from the delegation just crosses his arms, looking completely unimpressed and ready to walk. The deal was circling the drain, and the Audacity King was the one who had pulled the plug. He was drowning, and the only thing I could do was wait for the perfect moment to throw the life raft. For a price, of course. Everything they believed up to this point was wrong. The room was so quiet you could hear the sweat dripping off the Audacity King's forehead. Seriously, the guy was a walking puddle. The Chinese delegation, these high-level guys from a massive manufacturing plant, were looking at their watches, looking at each other, and then looking at me. Since the official translator was a total no-show, the lead rep, let's call him Mr. Big Power, turns to his associate and, guys, he was not being subtle. He literally said, "This man is a fool who does not even respect us enough to have a translator ready. Why are we wasting?" His partner nods and adds, "His suit does not even fit, and he smells like cheap coffee and desperation. Let us just go to the competitor across town. They actually value Mianzi." I am sitting there, still technically the unskilled coffee runner in their eyes. The $5 million deal was walking out the door because my boss, everything they believed up to this point was wrong. So, I did it. I did not even look at my boss. I looked straight at Mr. Big Power, leaned back in my chair, totally breaking character, and said, "I completely agree. His suit is a disaster, but his company's logistics network is the only one in the state that can actually handle." Bro. The silence that followed was cosmic. The Chinese delegation froze mid-motion, their mouths literally hanging open. Mr. Big Power looked at me like I was a ghost. And the Audacity King? His head snapped toward me so fast I thought he was going to get whiplash. He was whispering, "What did you just say? What is happening?" But I ignored him. I just kept eye contact with the lead rep and gave him that respectful nod. I told them I had been handling their shipping manifests for 6 months, and I knew exactly why their last partner failed. The energy in that room shifted instantly from my boss was irrelevant. I was the only It was the most beautiful. The Audacity King was literally vibrating. You could see the sweat beads forming on his forehead because he knew, deep down in his soul, he tries to give me this look. You know the one. The classic, "Do what I say or you're fired" middle manager glare. And he whispers under his breath, "Or don't bother coming in tomorrow." Bro, I just leaned back in my chair, crossed my arms, and gave him the most lethal, soul-shattering smile of my entire life. I didn't even whisper back. I said it loud enough for the whole room to feel the shift. "Sorry, boss, But translating technical manufacturing, that sounds suspiciously like a specialized skill. And since you told me last week that anyone off the street could do my job for $15 an hour, I think I'll just stick to my actual duties, which I believe currently involves filing these folders alphabetically. The delegation from China is just watching this play out like a K-drama, totally clued in because, hello, I'm the only one who actually speaks their language. I told the visitors in perfect Mandarin that my supervisor was just processing the excitement and asked them to give us 1 minute. I then dragged the Audacity King into the hallway. He starts sputtering about loyalty and how I'm holding the company hostage, but I cut him off before he could even finish the sentence. I told him straight up, my salary is currently $35,000. As of right now, my title is International Liaison. My new salary is $75,000. I want a private office, and you are going to sign a binding memo of these terms right now, or I am going to go back in there. Tell them the deal is off in their native tongue and go get lunch. He tried to bluster, he tried to bargain, but then we heard the lead negotiator inside the room literally click his briefcase shut. The sound of that latch was like a starter pistol. The Audacity King signed my notebook with a trembling hand, basically hyperventilating. I walked back in there like I owned the building. I didn't just translate, I performed. I used every bit of business etiquette and cultural nuance I'd studied, giving the delegation the mianzi or face that my boss had been. I smoothed over the insults, corrected the technical errors the previous translator had butchered, and by the end of the hour, the $5 million contract was signed, sealed, and delivered. The lead negotiator actually shook my hand last, ignoring the boss entirely, and I went from being the replaceable assistant to the most untouchable person in the company in less than 30 minutes. The power dynamic didn't just shift, it flipped into a different dimension. So what do you think? Did I go too far by squeezing him in the middle of a meeting? Drop your verdict in the comments, and if you want more stories like this, smash